This episode of Important If True is brought to you by Quip. Well-designed, convenient electric toothbrushes sent to your home with brush head refill plans every 3 months. Yeah, and if you go to tryquip.com/thumbs, you will get $10 off your first brush head refill.
What day is it actually?
May 4th.
May 4th. God, we got a 420 on a May 4th. What garbage. It's May the 4th, 2017.
And this is Important If True.
Wow.
Whoa. Sunday.
Thursday. From the Idle Thumbs, I'm Chris Remo. What am I saying? From Idle Thumbs, I'm Chris Remo.
I'm Nick Breckon.
And I'm Jake Rodkin. Hey guys, welcome to the thrilling conclusion of Important If True's two-parter spectacular.
Is it spectacular? Fuck you.
Boo! Unsubscribe.
Yep, we're rolling right on from recording last week's episode. Still here in the studio. Keeping that energy going. Keeping that Nick Breckon sickness going.
Oh, yeah.
Still just as sick as he was 5 minutes ago.
Oh,
Maybe
man.
sicker?
Oh, a little bit.
Incrementally sicker.
Oh, yeah.
We're just going to keep sticking around until Nick Breckon is just as sick as a dog.
I might be dead.
Can you be sick as a dog?
Yeah.
Is that a phrase?
It's a phrase.
I've lost my ability to
I don't
determine
know why.
whether as a dog is a phrase, because apparently Trump describes everything as being like a dog. He just appends that to lots of things.
Well, they're all like dogs.
Yeah. So now I don't even know how, if that's a thing anymore. But anyway, Nick Breckon's just coughing and sick. I think we can, that's pretty certain.
Yes.
So I'm sorry, Nick.
It's all right.
I'm sorry that you're coughing and sick.
It's fine.
We last left off talking about cribbing from and being influenced by things in your childhood that maybe you ripped off, maybe you didn't know you were ripping off, maybe you were absolutely aware that you were pulling a fast one, but something happens that causes you to create and bring new works into the world that might just be your Banjo-Kazooie fan fiction.
Yeah.
Yes.
Previously on Important If True.
Yeah, I was basically just full of shit in elementary school.
As were we all.
Yeah. Nick, I believe you also had something for...
Oh yeah, I was completely full of shit. But we probably don't have time on this episode, but maybe next episode.
All right, next episode.
Evidence of Nick's shit.
Yeah.
Nick Breckon, also
well documented.
Elementary school huckster.
And now, the conclusion.
Because of Nick's condition, he didn't feel up to reading this himself.
No.
So
I should set this up a little bit, though.
Oh my God. I just saw the first picture of this, and it's already incredible.
So
I haven't seen it, so I don't know what it
I'll
is.
list two facts before this starts.
All right. This is from your elementary school career.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fact one, in third grade, I think I read the novel Jurassic Park maybe every day, front to back.
Yeah. I can...
once a day, I would read the entire novel.
Burn it and then start again.
Yeah.
God, childhood is so weird.
Yeah.
It's weird to remember, imagining having that much time and the ability to be that single-mindedly focused.
Fact two.
Yeah.
The book that you're about to read from, I received a laureate award for.
Like a poet laureate?
Yeah, so we had at the end of every
like a
school
Nobel
year,
laureate?
there would be the laureate awards, and everybody would go who got nominated. It was very exclusive.
Wow.
I think maybe 2 kids per class, I think, out of a class of 30. But anyway, so that's
crazy.
Those are the facts.
So now we're going to have, maybe for the second time ever, a staged reading of your laureate award winning
It's true.
composition.
Yeah.
So this is a series of just photographs of this material. So it opens with a title page, and in printed what looks like Times New Roman, it says Jurassic Kanji. Author's note in handwritten pencil underneath Jurassicanji, which I have to assume is Jurassic Park meets Jumanji. That is my...
Your assumption is correct.
I'm going to infer the artist's intent here.
They were among my influences.
Helpfully, there is a pencil-written author's note underneath that says, author's note, : jur, ass, ick, on, and then the letter G. Which all actually makes it look more like it should be pronounced Jurassicang. The author's note, I feel, muddles the issue. Anyway, so...
We're not here for critique, Chris.
Okay. Jurassicang. So, page 1.
By young Nick.
Page 1, there's a crayon illustration of what looks like a coffee table with a board game on it, a hand, like throwing a die, I believe, and then a page of instructions that says... once you start, you can't stop, is the instructions to this game. That's all. This is all illustrated. So the text reads...
Sponsored by the Pringles Corporation.
The text reads, there once was a mom who worked at a museum. She had to work one day, and she had 2 very bright kids named Chris and David. They were playing in their front yards when Chris tripped. What the... he yelled. When he looked down, he was shocked to see a box with some strange words on it. He read them out loud. Jurassic Kanji, he said.
No, Jurassicang.
Jurassicang, he said. Let's go inside and play it, he said to David. Okay, replied Chris. I think Chris just had a whole conversation with himself, for the record.
It's okay.
For the record, this won a laureate award, Chris.
The kids said, so you did win the entire school against all those other kids.
Well, I think within my grade.
Okay.
With the one other kid?
No, that was per class.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's respectable.
The kids sat down at a table in their living room and opened it. It turned out to be a boring-looking game with normal dice and a normal board with a line of spaces and a jungle you had to go through. It also had a helipad for the finish space, Chris saw. Let's give it a try, said Chris. Okay, replied David. I would like to note that most of the commas are hand-drawn.
This is the manuscript.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris rolled a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, he said aloud. He landed on a space that said Velociraptors. Attack, go back 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3, Chris said. But before David touched the dice, they heard a sound from the kitchen. They peeked in and looked in horror and saw 3 Velociraptors trashing the kitchen.
Nice.
And then
I see where this is going.
There's a crayon illustration here.
It's so bad.
There's a crayon illustration of a Velociraptor head like crashing through some glass or something, and then there's a word that says crash, and there's a scared kid holding a piece of paper that says map on it.
Uh-huh.
They quickly closed the door, and David suggested that they go someplace away from there. Maybe we should go to a friend and call the police, said Chris. They would never believe us, said David. I think we should go upstairs to our room and shut all the doors and play in the closet, Chris said. They're still very committed to this boring-looking game, according to them. Okay, David said, and he rolled a 5. He landed on a space that said T-Rex eats guide. Go back 1 space. Oh, wait a minute. We don't have a guide, said Chris. All of a sudden, a strange man appeared in their room, and a T-Rex stuck his head through the window and gobbled him up in 1 bite and stomped off. I like the attention to detail that Chris has to count his spaces 1 by 1.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, but David does not. David can do that mental math.
Well.
So it reads, it wasn't there when they looked out the window. I think all the dinos will disappear if somebody wins, says David. But what will happen if only one of us makes it, said Chris. We'll have to find out and take a chance, said David. They heard the Velociraptors getting closer every second. Did you know that Velociraptors can bite through 1 inch of steel? Stammered David.
That's just a line from the book. That's just a stupid, fact that one of the fucking guys in the book says.
Very funny, stammered Chris. Chris rolled and got a 6. He landed on a space that said Triceratops Stampede, go back 2 spaces. Oh no, said David. Then they heard the bedroom door open with a bang. They peeked out the closet door and they saw 3 Velociraptors sniffing the ground and pursuing 2 kids. Wait, different kids? Then a miracle happened. A herd of Triceratops stampeded downstairs, and surprisingly the raptors jumped down on the herd, but they missed and fell on the tile floor. All of them got injured on the leg and were motionless. Phew-wee, Chris sighed with
injured
relief.
on the leg?
Yeah, close one, David said as he let go of his breath that he'd been holding since Chris hit the square. Now practically all of the furniture downstairs was broken. Mom isn't going to be happy when she finds some dead velociraptors. Wait a minute, interrupted David. They aren't dead. Just then they heard a growl and snarl, and the raptors stood up. Quick, roll, yelled Chris. David rolled a 4, then they saw the raptors climbing the stairs, and then the raptors leapt to their room. Then they attacked, but after David slammed the piece down on the board with the helipad, he had done it. The raptors disappeared. The furniture was as normal, but what about Chris? Had he disappeared too? He had to find out. He looked where his brother had been sitting, but he was gone. He looked frantically around the room, but he was nowhere to be seen. Then he heard a scream. No, it wasn't a scream. It was his mother and brother calling him. They were going out to a movie to celebrate his mom's new raise. All was well, so he put the game back in the yard where he found it. Later they went to a movie, but on the way out, he caught a glimpse of an upright structure. Could it be a raptor? Nah, he thought. They had vanished. But then he heard a growl, or was it? Well, maybe some other kid got Jurassic Kanji, like the people next door. I sure hope not, thought David, but at least they're not after us. The end.
A lot of twists and turns in that final paragraph.
But wait, or not.
Nah, or but.
Oh, it's fine.
It's just some other kids.
Some other fucking kids.
At least it's not us. The end.
What a bad moral to a story.
That's kind of the moral of Jumanji itself, though, really, right? Of like,
I guess
we
so.
got
and
out.
Fucking Aladdin, as we discussed last week.
No, that's true.
Like they put
Yeah.
this terrible man inside of a lamp to be a shit genie who's going to be
This is
horrible,
Robin Williams'
and then-
curse.
and then
His
they
curse.
Throw it. No, fucking Jafar. You said right.
Yeah, but Robin
No, but
Williams
he's also in Jumanji.
Robin Williams was the genie, and
Oh,
he was
no.
the guy trapped in the Jumanji movie.
Oh no.
Oh my god.
And he was trapped in Jurassicanji. Or however that's pronounced.
Yeah.
yeah.
Jurassic Kang.
Jurassic Kang. God, yeah.
Author's note.
Danky Kang. He was summoned for 1 second in Jurassic Kang and then was eaten immediately, and he said, finally, sweet release.
Man, Nick, you have all kinds of really good documentation of your formative years.
I do.
It's really impressive. We need to remember to bust out more of this stuff on this podcast because you have all kinds of, like, your mother kept a journal of your childhood.
Yeah. That's actually one of the more mundane examples. It just fit that question very well.
Jurassic
But that
You need to find some of that good shit.
This was actually also, I thought, very well written for an elementary school student. Given
I can see
given
why
that it
you
was
won that laureate.
completely
Thank you, Jake.
derivative trash,
It was.
should be thrown in the trash.
Yes.
I feel like, as far as
should
the
be
actual,
thrown in a dinosaur.
it should be. Yeah.
Please see last week's episode.
As, as a royal dump, it should be dump master.
Yeah.
No, the actual like construction of scenes and paragraphs and stuff was actually really good. When I read stuff that I wrote when I was younger, I'm actually really mad because it just shows that my brain is hardened and I'm a worthless piece of shit who can't imagine anything and is not willing to or able to just actually poop an idea out of my brain onto a piece of paper and finish it because I actually am able to be self-critical.
Yeah. You're too smart to know that your idea might be bad, but you're not actually smart enough to just have an incredible idea.
Yeah, it's a disaster.
That's bad. Yeah, being an adult is terrible.
Yeah. I mean, that said,
being an adult who's not a genius just kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But then you look back and you're like, you know what? I won an award for Jurassic Kong. So, you know.
Yeah.
So it was all downhill from there. What does that mean? How is that helpful?
No, I mean, like, with some strong fundamentals, maybe your idea doesn't need to be that great. Maybe you can just combine two things that you love.
Oh, you're saying other people in general are also dumb, and they will give an award to something called Jurassic Hang.
Yes.
So why even be self-conscious about your ideas now?
Just
I think that's fair.
Just dump it out. You're going to get that laureate Jurassic Hang award. So
that's true. Yeah.
Just think about that.
They now call that the Jurassic Hang Laureate Award in honor of Jurassic Hang.
The greatest work produced by that school.
Yeah, what was the name of your elementary school?
Bird School.
Bird School. You wrote appropriate.
What's wrong with Bird School, Chris?
Appropriate that you wrote a story about dinosaurs at Bird School.
It's true.
Dinosaurs, the coolest birds of them all. I think we had an email about bird dinosaurs at some point, but I don't remember what it was.
Well, it's that they bred that bird to look like a dinosaur.
There's that chicken
That's right.
face.
There was a crazy chicken that they
that
gave
weird
it a
chicken with a smiley dinosaur face. That we're like,
researchers accidentally created
Yeah.
a bird with a chicken with the face of a dinosaur.
Oh yeah.
It's fucking crazy looking.
Yeah.
It's crazy looking.
Yep. Yeah.
They just messed. They weren't even trying to. They messed with some genes, and they like reasserted that dinosaurs' heritage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a BBC story from a couple years ago, and it said, to understand how dinosaurs changed into birds, a team was tampering with the molecular processes that make up a beak in chickens, and they managed to create a chicken embryo with a dinosaur-like snout and palate, similar to that of small feathered dinosaurs like Velociraptor.
Yeah.
This was. If you should look for the picture of this. If you look for, like, I don't know, chicken-faced dinosaur. I guess they were trying to, or dinosaur-faced chicken.
Bird grows face of dinosaur is what you should look at.
Yeah, they were trying to figure out what
gang.
beaks are and where they came from, because I guess even though obviously beaks are just a common element of birds, we don't necessarily know a lot about their kind of evolutionary history and stuff. So instead we just we tried to solve it by just making a crazy crime of nature.
You know, I was reading about this at the time.
Yeah.
And I found this book that was talking about this. And this
by
guy,
Alan Grant.
This guy was saying, the scientist was saying, these weren't drastic modifications. They are far less weird than many breeds of chicken developed by chicken hobbyists and breeders. What is happening with chicken hobbyists?
Well,
then?
did you see that huge chicken that the internet flipped out about
there was that big fat actual
there
dinosaur.
Was an enormous dinosaur-sized
chicken.
chicken.
A Muppet. It was just like a Fraggle Rock creation.
Apparently, that is just a it did look like Fraggle Rock. That is a normal chicken called a Brahma chicken. That is just a totally accepted normal breed of chicken. That it was 5 feet tall or something. It was crazy. It was enormous.
It was pretty tall.
And that apparently, until the 1930s, was actually the dominant breed of chicken in the United States. That's just what people would eat. That is
what?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. From the early 1900s or late 1800s through 1920 or 1930, that was
the giant chickens roamed the earth?
They roamed this country. They were developed in this country.
They had dinosaur snouts?
What?
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
I'm not kidding. Look it up.
They were all that big?
Well, not all, but I mean, that was the most popular variety of chicken that was sold for people to eat. Was these huge Brahma chickens.
Weird.
Yeah, they were bred in the United States, and then they were exported to other countries.
It does look like a Rockwell painting. You know what I mean? It looks like that classic
huge ass
cartoon chicken.
God, who was it who promised a chicken in every pot? Do you think he meant that
Hoover?
fucking thing?
I don't know.
Do you think he also meant your pots were going to be massive? A chicken in every pot, and a pot big enough for this huge chicken. I hope so.
And a shotgun in case it attacks you.
I think it was Hoover. Yeah,
in 1928. So that was on the tail end of the popularity of the Brahma chicken in the United States, but it might still have been
a huge ass chicken and a pot to match.
Yeah, a Brahma chicken in every pot, or 9 normal chickens
in 9 small
pots. Yeah, it's a crazy thing. I don't understand how it works. Ever since I saw this, I have been fascinated by what it must be like to cook with the butchered, parts of that chicken. Or if you just make chicken breasts of that chicken, is it like having a huge T-bone steak, basically? I don't know. It's crazy.
I really would like to see one of those with the genetic modifications that gives it a dinosaur face.
Yeah, that would actually be terrifying.
I mean, there's a lot of birds out there that still look very dinosaur-like. If you guys have ever seen a secretary bird, the way that those ones move around and look, they're tall birds that walk a lot and have huge, really powerful-looking legs, and they're basically just built. If their tail was solid and they had a dinosaur face, they would just look like a velociraptor. And they're tall as fuck. They're they're not taller than you, but they're big and they just walk around like a creature.
Yeah.
Anyway, dinosaurs.
Yeah, so the Brahma chicken was the principal meat breed in the United States from about the 1850s until about 1930. So that was probably what Hoover meant.
He probably
wanted you to have a big ass chicken in all your pots. Yep. in every pot. Not even just one.
It's probably assuming
he
that
wanted
most...
every single pot in the country to have a huge chicken in it.
Living, a huge
not to eat.
Yeah. It's
Just
if you're wondering why you don't
America's
know...
Brahma chickens need homes. We're going to need to work together and put a chicken in every pot. We're going to send you a bag of shredded paper and nest-making material to put in that pot to ready your home for this huge fucking chicken, which scientists have accidentally given a terrifying dinosaur face. I'm sorry, America. Anyway, Hoover was very unpopular.
Yeah, if you're wondering why Hoover did not win re-election and why we don't really remember very much about him, it's because of this. It's because he started implementing this plan immediately in his first term, which immediately led to the collapse of the Brahma chicken as a popular breed in the United States and his presidency. Yeah. Anyway, good story with the Jurassic Kanji.
Oh yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I really like it.
You.
This is apropos of absolutely nothing, but I was entertained by it, so I will tell you. Someone just on Twitter or on Facebook or somewhere pointed out that your iPhone categorizes all of your contents based on all sorts of like location and time and all the sorts of things you'd expect it to do, but it also gives you a library that's just called My Selfies, which shows you only the ones you've taken with the reverse camera. And I got really excited about that, then went into my Photos app to try to find my selfies. My phone doesn't have that, but it does have a thing that tries to categorize by people, that your phone has recognized.
Yep.
And I just really don't like stuff like that. I don't like automatic face recognition, automatic face categorization. So it kind of grossed me out that it existed. But also, I'm not really a person to take a ton of pictures at group social events. So I don't actually have that many pictures that have a ton of people in them. So I was curious when I saw this thing that said faces, what would my phone actually, like, who are the important people in my life? According to my iPhone face recognition algorithm.
Yeah.
And the people that are important to me are me. So it's me, Dana, my wife.
Yeah.
A different version of me, which is apparently me when I'm tired. There's tons of pictures of just me with like sunken in eyes looking really sad, and that's like a different face.
Right.
Dana wearing sunglasses. Sean Vanneman. And then the other important people in my life are a painting of Jay Allard, which is behind us.
Former Microsoft executive.
Yes, and sort of father of the Xbox, and a painting of Bobby Kotick, the CEO of Activision Blizzard. These
video game publisher.
Yes, video game publisher, and a painting of me. These are the three. So tired me.
All of which are literally hanging behind us in the studio where we're recording right now.
If I click on like the picture of Jay Allard, the photo gallery of like my memories of my friend Jay Allard are us hanging out in this studio, us hanging out in the old studio, a couple of pictures of whiteboards from our video game in the old studio that has Jay Allard sneaking in, and us unwrapping and posing with the Jay Allard painting when we first got it. And my phone is convinced that like that is my friend. So I'm apparently friends with notable video game executives, in painted form, and then tired me, painted me, my wife, and my wife wearing sunglasses. I don't know where to go with that, but I really liked my lonely life as me hanging out with paintings of people to the point that my phone on the grid of 9, like 3 of them are just illustrations of people that don't exist,
right?
Or with whom I will never engage socially.
Mine is not as outrageous as yours, but is notable in some ways. It has my wife, it has me, it has Jake, it has Nick, it has both of you guys have your own little pictures here. It has a couple other people who we work with, my sister-in-law and like a niece. Then, notably, it has yawning Jeff Goldblum from Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World. And it has Tommy Lee Jones from advertisements for Boss Coffee in Japan.
That's a classic.
Your two best friends, Tommy Lee Jones and Jeff Goldblum.
So if you look at my grid, mine is actually like quite plausible compared to Jake, but then it just has those 2 spoilers in it.
Faces. Oh, it's really good. So we're obviously not people who lead healthy enough lives for this feature to be what it's intended to be, but I would argue that it is far better.
God, the reason that Jeff Goldblum was worthy, I guess, like that my phone considered him like a notable friend, is I guess because when I was on the plane to Japan, I was watching The Lost World on the little TV in the seat, And I took just a shitload of pictures of it, trying to get a non-blurry shot of this frame of
like,
Jurassic.
Wow, he takes he loves hundreds of pictures of this guy.
He loves this yawning man. And then Tommy Lee Jones, I just took every time I saw another like Boss Coffee vending machine, I took another picture of him. So I just have a whole grid of Tommy Lee Jones, some of which include me drinking a can of Boss Coffee
with Tommy Lee Jones.
With Tommy Lee Jones, yeah. So
it's good. I'm glad we're jamming the system, Chris. That we're keeping them on their toes, along with all of the other legitimate information about our lives and loved ones that they're collecting and just filing away by category.
Really weirdly, one of the first ones I clicked on Nick's picture includes the three of us with actual, real, in-person Jeff Goldblum.
But he's not yawning, so your phone doesn't...
like my phone it's like, oh, no, this is not... No, this person is not notable. What is notable is this yawning version of Jeff Goldblum.
Weird.
Oh, man. Oh, my God. This is incredible. Sorry. In the Jeff Goldblum picture, the picture is the three of us with Jeff Goldblum, and I'm holding the Cold Bloom, which is a foam like
beer koozie
like can holder that you can get from our store at store.idlethumbs.net.
Nice.
With Jeff Goldblum's face on it. It did not pull out Jeff Goldblum himself as a person in this photo, but it did pull out the tiny little Jeff Goldblum face on
That's
the
incredible.
Cold Bloom. Yeah.
iOS knows its fucking brand.
Yeah, apparently. So so this is just a disaster / triumph in all ways.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Man, what are we talking about? We haven't talked about anything.
I don't know.
What we read?
Oh, that's true. We read
Jurassic
Jurassicanji. Yeah. That's true.
Nick's casserole.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Well, should we take a break?
Yeah.
Okay. This episode of Important If True is brought to you by Zipcar, a really convenient car sharing service that allows you to reserve a car for short periods of time, anywhere from an hour to a couple days, and use it for whatever you need. Your groceries, picking people up, getting a big car to put big furniture and stuff in it.
Maybe you just want to drive around. Maybe you used to own a car and you don't now and you miss driving.
Or maybe you do own a car and it's like really dirty and crappy, and
you just
you're
want
what would it be nice like to be in a nice car?
Have a clean car that I could drive around for a while.
Yeah. I've used it to go to IKEA. That's a classic. I assume that is a classic Zipcar usage. Yeah. And if you go to joinzipcar.com/thumbs, you'll get $25 in free driving credit.
Nice.
It is nice. Joinzipcar.com/thumbs. Try a nice car for a change.
Whoa.
This episode of Important If True is also brought to you by Quip electric toothbrushes that come in the mail with brush head refill plans every 3 months, so you never get that pooched, puffed out brush head.
You order it, it comes in the mail, you put it in your mouth, your mouth is cleaner.
Uh-huh. And because you get the batteries and everything you need also in the refillable, in the 3 monthly plan, it means the actual whole design of this thing is incredibly slimline and compact. There's no like big bulky sort of enclosure for it or anything. It's really just small and nice, which means if you are traveling, it takes up basically the same size as a normal toothbrush.
Right.
I just packed for the trip I'm going on last night, and I realized, man, I can just take my electric toothbrush with me.
Nice.
Yeah, it's so nice and thin and convenient. And it'll brush your teeth with a nice vibration.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, it's what you want. If you go to tryquip.com/thumbs, you will get $10 off your first brush head refill. They start at only $5, those plans, so that's already all that you need.
Nice.
That is tryquip.com/thumbs.
And now back to the podcast.
I know you've both been to London.
Yes.
Have either of you been to the M&Ms store in London?
I've walked past it and looked aghast, and then
I've been at the one in
kept walking.
New York City.
So the one in London is bigger. I know this because it proudly calls itself the largest M&M retail store in the world, as though that's something that any human could possibly care about.
They put my second largest M&M store out of business. How can mom and pop M&M stores survive now that
I only bring it up because it is such worthless garbage that it feels like notable somehow. I assume the New York one is just as worthless as the one in London. The one in London somehow feels like it's more worthless than an American one could ever be, because at least M&Ms are, I assume, an American company.
Yeah. So you find that the London one is more worthless because it's wasting space in London.
It's right in the middle of London. It's got to be insanely prime real estate, and it is 4 stories. It burrows down into the earth.
If it's not there, it's near
Covent
it.
Garden, maybe? I forget where. I actually don't remember where it is. I was wandering around with Aubrey, who you know, I think.
Yeah.
Sort of vaguely drunk, so I just being led around like wherever we were going. And it is a disaster. It is such an example of just what a nightmare brands are. This M&M has these stores. I guess they have a few of them, and they double down on like the different colored M&Ms as characters, right? It's like, the green one, like the red one, the blue one, the whatever, the like brown, I guess. I don't remember actually all the colors of M&Ms. But there's like T-shirts where there's 4 M&Ms reenacting the cover of Abbey Road, and like you can buy London double-decker red buses with M&M like characters like waving out of them. Like all this shit, all this chintzy shit.
Yeah.
And it really feels like some large company that is just determined to slam these characters and this brand into the brain of as many people as they can just by force of will. It's crazy to see. It's just fucking candy. I don't understand like what.
It's not even good candy.
It's fine. I mean, M&Ms are fine. If you want M&Ms are good. I'm totally fine with M&Ms. But I was in the fucking like palace of the temple to M&Ms, and I couldn't bring myself to eat any because I was so disgusted.
Were they just like free coming out of fountains?
No, they charge you
Willy
for them.
Wonka?
They charge you by the pound. You can actually get stuff printed on M&Ms. You can go in there and buy M&Ms by the pound and write messages on them, and they feed them through a printer, and the printer prints
Would
things.
they just put an S on them?
I mean, they could if you paid for it. Oh, like Skittles?
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, I think it's a computer, so it probably, unless they have a process to check for that flagrant brand abuse.
Because the red and blue ones you could probably toss into some Skittles and you'd be
green. You feed them directly into the printer yourself, so you could do the whatever colors Skittles are. Yeah. The most egregious thing about these characters, like beyond the fact that they aren't characters, except that they're obsessed with them being characters, is that all of they're mainly male M&Ms, right? Which are just have
there's
like
the one female.
There's like the one female M&M which is green. Yeah. There's also a brown M&M which is also a lady who's like totally sidelined.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Which is weird. Like she just doesn't. She's like put in like certain corners of the store, but she's not. She doesn't like get to be cool. Yeah, the green M&M, which is I guess a white lady, is part of the main crew. And she is like sexed up in the most ridiculous way. She's got like thigh-high boots, and all of her poses are like the sort of bent knee, like sort of like teasing thing. She's always the one who's like, ooh, and sort of she's clearly depicted as being sexual and
that M&M is
beautiful.
So hot.
Yeah, they want you to think the M&M is hot. They definitely want that. And the male M&Ms are either assholes or idiots. Like that's just how they're portrayed. And then there's this like beautiful lady M&M who's sexy. And I don't understand why any of this exists and why they're spending what must be like the equivalent of hundreds of thousands of dollars a month to operate this fucking place. And I also don't understand why so many people go to it. The place was packed when we were there.
Maybe
it was nuts. I couldn't
maybe it's
believe
all
it.
showy because they have. It's like it's a big facade put on because they have something to hide.
What?
Do you remember in the era?
Yeah, look at this. Nick just found a fucking picture of this sexy green M&M.
I know.
Like bathing. She's like in a tropical pool with like long eyelashes, and she's like looking at you with a suggestive gaze. It's what the fuck is the deal with this sexy M&M?
Okay, well, what I was thinking is probably actually not the reason that there's a giant M&M store, but it is what would happen were we to get an original Netflix series.
Oh God,
based on the M&Ms.
That's gonna happen.
So
that's definitely gonna happen.
In the 1980s,
the M&M movie,
there was a tan M&M who was also personified on T-shirts and clothing and whatever else. Tan M&M got voted out by the public in a marketing campaign that introduced the blue M&M. And I feel like if you're going to take the entire canon and lore of the M&M-verse and figure out what could I turn that into, what's the actual story of this, assuming there is lore and continuity. These characters all somehow are complicit in the murder of that tan M&M, and only the dark brown M&M lady either wants nothing to do with it or like is sort of ostracized from the group because of it. Like it's a definite I Know What You Did Last Summer or
like
Riverdale or Last House on the Left or like any movie or any story.
Hold up.
Murder on the Orient Express.
Tan M&M comes
Sorry,
to the
I
front
need
door.
an update on the brown M&M. The brown M&M's name is Ms. Brown, and she's also white. Sorry, this is outrageous. The brown M&M has a brown...
Wait a minute, what? According
to her fucking skin color, I forgot that M&Ms, in addition to
they have flesh.
They have like actual flesh that comes out of their candy portion.
Doesn't it just make you want to like eat them?
Doesn't it? Yeah, doesn't it want to just chomp on
I would love
arm?
one of those M&Ms. Or no, a leg, drumstick.
Yeah, she's
wing.
also a
Give me
white lady.
An M&M wing.
Just gnaw on it.
What? Also, her official appearance is sexy, sophisticated.
I like to let them melt in my mouth.
Tender.
Yeah.
I would like an M&M leg. Yeah, medium.
God damn it.
I just want to point out...
It's a terrible brand.
I want to point out that the official visual description of the brown M&M is that she is sexy and sophisticated. I just can't emphasize Ms. Brown. I can't emphasize enough how stupid and fucked up these characters are. Because how is that also not what the... There's also a picture
Well, they're all brown underneath, Chris.
Yeah, they are all brown underneath because here's a picture of the green M&M wearing... She's in the snow wearing like sort of fur gloves and stuff, and she's taking off her own green candy skin to reveal brown underneath. Is that what they're covering up? Ms. Brown is the flayed, the flayed remains.
Ms. Brown
of
is
green?
goblin only.
Oh man, Ms. Brown is the goblin of the green M&M. She's shed of her ghostly
that
green
candy
flesh.
coating is a ghost.
Yeah, this is when we get into season 3 of this Netflix thing, and they've run out of continuity and introduced that there's actually a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde situation, and also one of them is a werewolf for some reason, etc. In any fantasy genre show, at some point, someone's a werewolf when you run out of ideas.
Yeah.
But yeah,
God, all the promotional imagery of this is fucked up. There's a picture of the green M&M wearing heeled boots over a grate in the style of the classic Marilyn Monroe. And her green skin is being blown up by the air from the grate, and it says "Gentlemen prefer milk chocolate."
Oh.
Which what does that mean? What is that supposed to mean?
I want to not talk
As
about
opposed
this
to
anymore
what,
because
dark
I
chocolate?
hate it.
All right, sorry.
It's fine. This show manages to get into things that are not actually bad, but just
this is actually bad.
But yes, okay, that's true. I'm just grossed out.
Yeah, it's really gross. That's how I felt walking through all 4 stories of the goddamn M&M
As I'm sure it was with huge TV screens flashing full color M&Ms at you nonstop until your eyes just are watering.
It's a disaster. It's a total
until you bled milk chocolate.
Yep.
Which is the wacky parlor trick of the red M&M.
To make you bleed? Oh no, he bleeds.
He bleeds brown.
Yeah. Oh no. Hey guys, but you think I'm red, huh? Oh God, he's doing no. Don't. We've all seen. Oh God damn it, he's doing it. Then the green one's oh, I can do that too, and she starts ripping
off her skin off, and everyone's oh, it's so sexy. Oh, so sexy.
When that guy does it, it's just weird and gross. But God, when she does it, I love it.
So hot.
Oh, it's so hot.
That guy's just hits an artery and is uncontrollably blasting her with chocolate as she's...
Which she's sexually bathing
No, she's just
in?
screaming. This is getting into full David Lynch. Her skin is half off, like, which seemed sexy at the time, but now that everything's just getting coated wildly in chocolate, everyone's screaming. Yeah. That's what happens at the M&Ms store.
God, this has been a terrible discussion. I really apologize for introducing it.
No, it's great.
I apologize to myself for being present at the M&M World store, and I apologize to everyone listening to this podcast for being taken even deeper into the bowels of horrible M&M lore.
There's definitely a
God,
can in there.
she's got a promotional image that says "I'm tasty and I know it," and she's blowing you a kiss. It's just horrible. What they've done to M&Ms. Ugh. She's milk chocolate and you're only human, says a picture of the green M&M. Why would they do this?
I don't know.
Why would they do it?
I don't know.
All right, I'm sorry. I'm going to close this chapter of my life and my phone.
Anybody want an M&M?
I do not. I absolutely don't.
I really do. I love how they taste. Mm-hmm. I love the way that, you sort of...
They just wink at you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the characters are fantastic. Mm-hmm. I just want to eat them right now.
Well...
I don't anymore. That's strange. What did I just want? A few episodes back, we talked about one of the things that was maybe one of my favorite conversations on the show, which was the bizarre fact that the Jaws ride at Universal Studios in in Hollywood shares a set with Murder, She Wrote. Yeah. And
that was like episode 2.
That was a while ago. The Jaws ride, like even just the mention of the Jaws ride, much like the mention of Jaws itself, triggers a bunch of nostalgia in people. And we were sent some follow-up information on the history of the Jaws ride as sort of a global phenomenon, but also a bunch of really crazy details specific to the Universal Orlando one that I was so happy to learn that I feel compelled to talk about them. So the Jaws ride in Universal Studios Orlando, the one that is literally built onto the Universal... God, did I say Orlando? Sorry.
You did say that.
The Jaws ride in Hollywood is built into the actual Universal Studios backlot. Like it's a sort of historic lake set that showed up in like old westerns and all sorts of old studio pictures, and obviously also worked in... you could just use it as a New England fishing village for places like Murder, She Wrote. So when Disney announced that they were going to expand their theme park empire to Florida with Walt Disney World, which was going to be like the bigger, more outrageous Disney theme park. What Universal Studios initially said, like Universal Studios, the movie production company, was, well, a lot of people go to Universal Studios as an add-on to Disneyland. Like, we've sort of got a market going from that. Maybe what we should do is build a new film studio in Florida that's expressly built to be a theme park. So, and they're like, but then once that seed was planted, they started getting increasingly ambitious with it. They're like, actually, maybe we could beat Disney to the punch, and maybe we could open first. Also, maybe instead of it just being a little studio tour, because that was what it was. Like, we'll build a little accessory. Like, people can just go on the Universal Studios tour, and we could also do some East Coast film production there. And then when that happened, they started getting ambitious, and Michael Eisner, who was the CEO of Disney, got really pissed off at that point. And so Disney went, they're building like a fake film studio that's a real film studio just to leech tourists from Disney? No. Disney announces Walt Disney and MGM present MGM Studios, a part of Disney World, and it will feature a tram tour that has an earthquake simulation and a stunt show where you can ride the movies. It's a functional Disney backlot. Then Universal, the president, instead of giving up or being like, it's fine, just said, fuck this. The cost of our theme park is doubled. There's no studio tour. They're all going to be rides. So the Jaws ride, this is why people who grew up on the East Coast or have gone to the Tokyo Universal are very confused by the fact that the rides in the LA one are just literally like you're in a car and it drives past a shark. They went insane.
I did not know any of this.
Their Jaws ride in Universal Orlando, they're like, this shark is going to be an autonomous swimming thing that is free. It gets on a track, but it's like free of the timing of the ride. It can jump. You're on a boat riding through a lake that is a full recreation of the fishing village from the film. The shark can swim up, bite the boat, shake it around. The boat tries to hide in a boathouse. The shark shows up and fucking rips the walls off of the boathouse to get to it. And like the tour guides can talk to each other. There's like a full tour guide boat that just sinks in front of you. And this ride ran for like 2 months before they threw it out and literally redid it from scratch.
They realized that Jaws was like murdering people.
Yeah, they made it too real.
Get Jessica Fletcher in here to solve these crimes.
They made it too real. Apparently, Spielberg signed on to be a creative director in name only, I think, of Universal Studios Florida to lend it some credibility. He went to the ribbon cutting of it, and then immediately got trapped on the Jaws ride for like 3 hours when it broke down due to a power outage.
Oh man, he had a 3-hour tour.
Yeah, so the Jaws ride was too real. Jaws destroyed his own ride.
If you die on the Jaws ride, do you die for real?
I imagine you do.
Definitely, because Jaws kills you.
This is totally actually the structure of a great urban legend, because they then actually threw this entire ride out and rebuilt a dumpy, shitty version where Jaws gets electrocuted and just sort of vibrates around.
My uncle told me that they had to do that because Jaws killed a guy. He killed Steven Spielberg.
He killed Spielberg.
That's a reptilian Spielberg.
That's why Spielberg's movies dropped off after. That's why his style changed, because they got a new Spielberg.
After Robot Jaws killed him, and they had to create clone Spielberg.
It's weird that he started making sci-fi movies after that.
Yeah, he was so preoccupied with robots and artificial intelligence.
The cheaper Jaws ride is now immortalized permanently in Universal Florida, but even the cheap Jaws ride was too dangerous and has been replaced in Florida.
Wait, really? For real?
Yes. So there's a Jaws ride that was built.
Wait, you just said both Florida. Your brain, you seem to have been like infected by some kind of like rat memory destroyer disease that makes you forget about the existence of Hollywood.
Florida.
Oh no, the one that's
all locations to Jake are Florida.
I just really want to go to theme parks in Florida.
Yeah.
Weird.
I just feel compelled. I mean, I have all these memories of going to them.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you never have.
Universal Studios Japan, I believe, is the one that still has the Florida second rev Jaws ride.
I see.
The really expensive, scary Jaws ride where he actually murdered people. Apparently, people did actually fall out of the boat into the water with
and
that.
were murdered.
And were murdered. Oh! The Jaws in the original Jaws ride in Florida had actual shark teeth glued to its mouth.
Oh, no! Oh, my God.
Beautiful medieval shark teeth.
Jesus.
Yeah.
In perfect condition.
Oh, I don't have any through line for this other than just the combination of this like Michael Eisner Universal Studio executive insane war coupled with Universal being like, the solution is we're going to put real shark teeth on a shark and it's going to swim around and fuck up the ride. And then lo and behold, it fucked up the ride and they had to close it.
That's why Disney one up them further with that actual real shark that killed all those people. Right?
Yeah, that's
what happens. Brands, am I right?
Yeah, that was the original version of Typhoon Lagoon.
I don't even know what that is.
It's the water park.
It's a water park. You don't know about it because of all the murders.
Because of all the murders.
They downplayed it.
Yeah. All right. Well, shall we do some endorsements?
Chris, what do you endorse?
I am endorsing a television show called Review. That was. Have you guys even heard of this? I had not even heard of this until a few weeks ago.
Which streaming service is it on? Or is it actually on TV?
It was on Comedy Central, I guess, but I watched it on Amazon.
Okay.
I'm sure it's on. I'm sure you can find it elsewhere. I don't know.
Sure.
It's called Review, and it's 3 seasons long. Although the 3rd season is like 3 episodes. I mean, the whole thing it ends up being about 20 episodes in total. Mm-hmm. This is such a weird, interesting, outrageous show, and I had never heard anyone talk about it until I just heard it, referenced a couple weeks ago, and I ended up watching the entire thing. The premise of this show, the show itself, is a show within a show. So the show is about the concept of the show called Review, as depicted in the show Review, is a guy who is a reviewer of life experiences on television. So he operates like a sort of sub-Siskel and Ebert kind of television film critic with that very matter-of-fact presentational style that's sort of very and this for the latest from this thing, that kind of very canned speech, except the thing he's reviewing is life experiences that people write into him to have reviewed on a scale of 1 to 5.
This seems like a weird concept alt comedy from the 80s. Like this seems like a Defending Your Life or something like that to me.
I don't know that.
Oh, okay.
It does feel like a weird alt comedy thing from another era in a way. It does.
Yeah.
Except that it looks really modern because of how it's shot and everything about it looks like a modern television show.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like a modern sort of faux documentary show with all the trappings of the modern version of that, except that the sensibility has the thing you're describing. And it's over the course of this show, the things that he has to do to fulfill these reviews just increasingly just destroy his life because he commits to the concept of the show so thoroughly, and the character is such a he's such a sort of guileless, almost naive person that he takes all of these things to their fullest extent without.
God, that sounds so much like a movie that your friend's kind of cool mom would have recommended to you that she remembered from the 80s and was now on VHS buried in the back of a Blockbuster and starred Albert Brooks.
Yeah. It's crazy. It keeps going and going and going and becoming more and more of a complete disaster. It's fascinating. It's I guess a remake of an Australian show of the same concept, and I have not seen that one. I enjoyed this thing all the way through. It's fucking weird. It stars a comedian named Andy Daly, who I was not familiar with, who co-wrote it, and it also features James Urbaniak, who many people know as Dr. Venture from the Venture Brothers. He plays the producer of the show, and is very good in that role as essentially this sort of almost this horrible enabling figure who passive aggressively encourages this increasingly self-destructive behavior. It's hilarious. It's often extremely hilarious and also uncomfortable. So if you don't like that kind of humor, I guess it might not be for you, but I thought it was really worthwhile. It's called Review, and I watched it on Amazon, but I'm sure you can find it on other services as well.
Nice.
That's me. Nick, what do you got?
I'm going to endorse getting a flu shot.
Have you taken this endorsement to heart yet?
I did get a flu shot this year, but this is why it is so important to get one. Because you're basically still, it could be so much worse, and also you're always rolling the dice. You may as well give yourself a few less faces to deal with, right?
Yeah.
God, I have a story to tell about something that happened to me on the way to getting a flu shot, but there's not time on this episode, so one of you guys should remind me.
To be continued next time on Important If True.
Yeah.
Jake,
what do you got?
I was, the last couple weeks I've been in a real positive space. I've just talked about the things that I like.
Yeah. Well, it is endorsements. You are promoting.
I mean, just in general, I feel like I've just been, very sort of up on things, and I've also really been enjoying the taste of Coca-Cola, and I'm really thinking about going to Florida. And what I actually recommend is getting a cybernetic memory enhancement planted into your brain. It really sort of takes a load off of your mind, and it doesn't seem to have any other adverse effects on your sort of tastes or interests, but really just sort of life seems a little easier.
All right.
I'm so thirsty.
Okay, well, on that, thanks for listening to this week's Important If True. If you enjoy this podcast, consider telling a friend. That is really the main way we have to spread the word about this podcast. And if you have any questions for us about anything going on in your life when you think our perspective would be helpful, send it to questions@importantiftrue.com. Any weird stuff you've been observing, also welcome.
Please send weird things you've been observing. All of our shows and products are available at Coca-Cola.com. Actually, man, do you remember in the early days of the web when someone owned Coca-Cola.com and that was a big deal?
I don't remember that.
That ended up leading to sort of is your ownership of a domain name protected, or can a company just scoop it from you? And that ended up going to court, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, whatever. Sorry. Actually, importantiftrue.com is the domain name of this podcast.
It is. We were shocked that was available.
And it is the domain name of our brand. We own it. You can't get it.
Yeah. That's true. Another thing we could
until we
could
forget
not
to
get
pay
was that Twitter handle. Our Twitter handle. Jurassicanji is.
You can find us on the Jurassicanji social network.
Our Twitter is ImportantCast.
That's it.
Our as I said, our email address is questions@importantiftrue.com. Tell a friend if you like it, and we will be back next week. For Idle Thumbs, I am Chris Remo.
I'm Nick Breckon.
I'm Jake Rodkin.
Stay spicy.
I wish that we lived in the universe where you didn't say stay spicy.
What are you going to do? I'm just going to make you forget that that's a thing I say every week.